everyone. Welcome to Long Arm Wednesday. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. We're working on the second set of boys' charity donation quilts, and they're just small ones. Clive, he wants his time. Just let him meow. Anyways, they're about 36 by 46, and actually this one seems to be a little bit shorter. I must have, anyways, nonetheless, it's there. So I have them set out. I've got a stars and swirls pattern stitching out on this one with shell thread for both of them. It's very lovely. It's kind of like a little bit of a golden touch to it. And then I've got a Greek key stitching out on that one. So we're just going to hit the button and go resume. And Walt's going to continue doing what he's doing, stitching on those tumblers that we did on the weekend project just past. It's easy little block. Pop it together with a bit like this flannel here was big sectioned out. So I just took it off and chopped it off 2 by 2 by 2. And I have enough. Oh, sorry, Lofi. She was in front of me. I didn't want to step on her where she was laying down there. So I chopped it up and then put that little sashing a border between of the tumblers, and as you can do it as many times as you like. Big, small, these were 5 inches, and then I just used my 10% or 10 degrees, I don't say 10%, but 10 degree wedge, and then just went from the 25 to the 20, and then just flipped and flopped and flipped and flopped and cut the pattern that way, really easy. I have enough to do another one. I got some of the bits cut, I just didn't get them all sewn together. So that was left over from here. So it's a very fun fabric. And I chose flannels and a couple of cottons that I have from my own collection. This donuts, really fun donut stuff here. It made me giggle when I saw that. It was left over from a teaching project. And then there's the stars and the moon. And then of course the cute little polar people. And then the penguins and the polar bears. It's very cute. And of course having that little stitch out with the swirl and the star, I don't know, just kind of complemented that one. And then I've got the Greek key stitching out on this one. And the backing is a nice big long wide roll of, I guess it's called art fabric, I'm not really sure. It has lots of names in, like, you know, L is for Lauren or Laura Lynn. B is for, I forgot what B is for, you know, but, you know, S is for Steve and Sandra and, you know, so on and so forth. So it's kind of cool. And then it's got like a little paint kit and then some crayons and paints and paintbrushes and scissors and, I don't know, really fun fabric. It's some that Pop won at an auction. So we'd like to really kind of tie the two together with the kids' fun stuff, you know. And of course it's got the flannel mostly on one side and this very nice soft you know, cotton poly on the other side. It's very lovely. And it's about halfway done. I stretched it out nice and big because it's got nice big stars, nice big swirl. You can condense it. That's the joy of the software. When I click out my edge to edge and I go my upper corners, my upper left, upper right, lower, and this, and then it gives me, it knows how much I want it to stitch in this direction, but it doesn't know how long I want it to stitch, like whether it's 50 inches, 60 inches, 80 inches, or whatever. So when I put that other dimension in, it gives me a rough idea of like, oh, do you like this? To say, okay, like, you know, 4 across and 8 down, and you got like 6 rows and so on and so forth, or whatever, or you have to roll it. And you can tweak it from there, whether you want it to go denser, like say you're making a bag and you want that bag really dense, stitched all together, or a jacket or something like that, or table runner or placemats or something like that. Or if you want it to be really loose, like a big star and a big swirl, that goes great on quilts and duvets and, you know, play mats for kids and, you know, fun blankets, that sort of thing. That's another fun adventure with the software is how to manipulate it. And it just kind of gives you a suggestion. You don't have to go with it. Lots of times it's perfect because it kind of gives you more of a medium density. So you can change it whether you want it lighter or if you want it heavier. So. And this shell, I was going to pick blue, but I didn't have enough of the Hawaiian blue to do both. So I have to put that on my list, as well as red thread. It's always buying thread. But I like the shell, because it kind of just popped in a little bit of a neutral color, being that little gold, olive sort of tone. We've been working on a green Bargello, scrappy Bargello for the weekend project for the past 2 weekends. And if you'd please join us there, we've had such a great time and it's turning out fantastic. Even I'm pretty impressed with it. It just that lovely little wave that goes through it. And then we did, I'm not sure if you can see a bit of the bear paw. No, that's okay. But our pink and brown bear paw was a huge success. Unfortunately, the last video was a little cruddy, so look at the 2 before. And then the quilting of it, that's also there. And then our first one right behind me was the red and gray and black. Well, it's supposed to be red and gray, but then, you know, black kind of snuck in there a little bit, so. Yeah, I love that donut fabric. It's so cute. I don't know why. And sparkles, the sprinkles, whatever. So when I come over to this side, I have to roll a little bit towards me because it was a shorter quilt. Because I have registration points that I need to click off at because it's already done sew in the first row and I needed to sew at the second row. So once this is done, because it was a little bit longer, I need to go over there, like roll it a little bit and then make sure I set my little registration point. So I know what it wants to do, stitch out those 4 keys because I have 4 keys that are stitching out one right after the other. Well, I'll do 1 row and then we cut thread and start it off again. But love that little penguin. He's so cute. I'm the one carrying the fish too. I just thought it was a nice, fun fabric to play with and add a little pop of other colors with it, like some green and some donuts and then some, you know, this funky blue here and some white and some monsters. You know, mix it up. Mix it up. Make it fun. Doesn't always have to be the same with kids, you know. They like the mix and the match. They like the color. They like characters. They like, you know, texture. These swirls and stars, you can follow that with your finger and just, you know, have fun. I love to watching Walt work. Especially when it does a lot of charity stuff. Keep him busy. So we got the second set of girls coming up on next weekend project. So stay tuned for that. So another simple, easy pattern. Easy to adapt. It's just going to be blocks this time. I don't have really any other, well, I do have a couple other pieces to play with, but they're really, really young. I was trying to go for a little older, so we'll see. We'll see. I did say I wanted to do an older set of charity quilts after this set, like maybe give March a break and then in April, May kind of work on those for teens and stuff, like the good twin size ones. There's a couple of quilt tops that we still have left over that we purchased. We'll be quilting some of those up as well to go. So some of the squares aren't really lined up, so I have to do some seam ripping, which is a little sad because I didn't sew it, but that's okay. Some are really good. Like it's like 5 or 6 rows are fantastic, and it's like somebody who took over who does not maybe understand that seams need to be lined up and just sewed that one other batch right on from and then didn't really care and it just kind of slowly shifted. So I'm like, we got some seam ripping fun going on. And I'd rather take the time to seam rip it and fix it than stitch it up and not be happy with it and give it away. Like half of it's fantastic and the other half's off. No. We'll find a way. And I have a huge, like a big, huge bucket bin all filled with 5-inch squares that we got as well. So it's probably enough to make 20 quilts. So I've got lots to work on for charity stuff. So make a bunch of fast 9 patches and sew them all together. But then you can do, cut those 9 patches in halves and flip the block. There's so much you can do with a 5-inch square. It's limitless, really. All right, it's almost there. It's got a little swirly and then back around and then it'll be done. And then we'll move over there. Good job, Walt. Looks beautiful. Love the donuts. Yeah, it's amazing what you can get in flannel fabric because a lot of people make pajamas out of it. So people like unique pajama bottoms. So, you know, high heel shoes and cupcakes and, you know, donuts. I saw emoji fabric, I'm like, okay, that's a bit much. It was kind of confusing with all the little faces on it. Okay, so just cut that there and we say, okay, continue. We know it's done. Okay, good, all right. So we're gonna unclamp these two right here and just roll it just a little bit more towards me because I just need about 2 or 3 inches to get up to the bottom of my Greek key going on there. Okay, and this is how you can do 2 at once. Doing 2 quilts without having to constantly load or switch up or whatever, okay? So I'm just gonna roll a little bit closer. You can see right there where the bottom of those keys are. It was only a couple inches that I needed, but I needed to finish all the way down onto this one and didn't want to shortchange it. So, didn't want to have like 2 inches of the bottom of this one not stitched out just because I was trying to fit both of them to do at the same time when it was only just take a few moments to reset it back up and do it right. Okay. All right, so there we go. And I'm just gonna switch to the other quilt group, okay? And then I'm gonna say roll quilt, and it's gonna say left click registration mark, because I've already rolled the quilt. And I have a little orange chalk mark, like right there, okay? And then it says click right registration mark. So I come all the way over to the other side, and a little orange chalk mark, and go right there. I go, okay. Now it says select position points along the bottom of the edge to edge. So this is where you can come in with your foot. You want to make sure you don't want to click right on the edge there because it's going to stitch that pattern all the way to the edge if you don't want it to, right? If you want to keep your flowers and your roses and your horses or whatever all within the quilt, you click a 1/4 of an inch, if not a little bit more than that, all the way down on the inside. Because in that way, your pattern won't go beyond your click line. Okay, especially if you're doing a whole cloth, you really want to keep all that stuff right in. And borders, keep it in. And then this is where I do a little extra because I can see those stitches right here, how I need to come and follow that pattern. I do a little click, click, and then with my laser light right on those previous stitches, kind of click out the first kind of couple curves. Just kind of following the pattern the best I can. And then I know if it's lined up on there on my screen or here or there or on your little tablet, Bobby here, then you're good to go. All you have to do is hit quilt and it's awesome. Okay, so we're okay. I like where it's sitting. That means it's going to come close. These stitches should come really close to that one, which is very similar to the top one. All right, and now we're just going to hit quilt. Okay, we don't want that thread to wrap around. And there we go. See, just close. Not overlapped, just touching. And that's because I went through that little, I go through that little extra effort to make sure, because then where I clicked out there gives me a blue line. Where it's previously stitched, it gives me a red line that stitched it out. So if I'm matching my blue click line and the red previous stitch line pretty darn close, then there's no reason why it shouldn't line up, okay? This is a really fast stitch out. It only took like 4 minutes to do the whole thing, so I really liked it. It gave enough space in between the quilting to keep it nice and secure, but also give it a nice little fun texture all the way around because of the little curly whirlies. We have another one like this as well, and it's straight line. I like the curl. I just figured out a little bit of a snowy, hilly effect. I don't know. I had something going on in here. And some of this monster fabric is so cute. I've done a couple of receiving blankets and with it, and what else did I do? Oh, I think it inside to a kid's bag, kid's art bag. So it's cute. And this fabric here is really soft. It's really soft. I really like it. And I'll just probably bind them up in blue. I think blue would be good. I have some blue flannel here that would probably suit it quite perfectly. So And for the girls, I probably will use the mint green to bind those off. And then for the boys of the first one, I think I was going to use yellow. There we go. So it's almost done the second one, and it's I got a third, and then we just have another row to do. What I should have done when I clicked it out, because I did click along the bottom here, actually I should have popped those stitch lines up. I see it's a little bit below, so I can change it before it goes to that row. Once it finishes this one, I can adapt this bottom row a little bit better, because other than that, I'm going to end up stitching all the way out onto the batting, and I don't really want to do that. To me, that's just wasted stitches. Yeah, a couple of fun stitch outs and a little bit creative, and you know, we don't always have to have flowers and feathers and to be really fun and have a lot of movement to it. It has been super rainy here the past couple of days. We've got like flooding everywhere. The yard looks like a river ran through it. But we see all of Sophie's toys. Oh, I didn't want that to happen. Oh, it's just happening on the edge. I'm just going to trim that anyways. No! There we go. No worries. We fixed that. Okay. All right, now we go continue, and it's going to move down there, but I'm going to change it before it actually gets there. Well, when it gets there, not before. Okay, so it's ready to stitch out the second one, but I'm going to hit cancel for a second there. Highlight that bottom row. No, I don't want to stop. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight that bottom row, scooch it up just a wee bittens, and scooch that in just a wee bitten. And that makes that a better stitch out. Let's scoot that just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now it should reposition itself because I've moved the one end. Oh, no, it's fine where it is. Okay. And then it'll stitch out the other three. Perfect. Yeah, this one really did move the long arm. It goes like back. I noticed I would have stitched out the first two rows. I'm like, oh, while it's doing a waltz. Yeah, I could have used white thread, but I wanted it to show up. I wanted a little bit of, you know, visual color and texture. So I would have used blue, but like I said, didn't have enough to do both. So, and I wanted to keep them both the same. It's just easier that way, though. Switching threads, switching bobbins, so on and so forth. Perfect. Yeah, because that was coming just a little bit lower. It was stitching down into the floof like it did on the side there. And all these will be just a sew on to the back and flip to the front and stitch down via machine all the binding. I wish I had the time to hand stitch everybody's binding, but I don't. And we're very happy to say that all these quilts have already found a home or already have a home destined to them via the Linus project. We reached out to them and they were very happy and like what we're doing here at the quilt shop. So it's very nice to know. Almost there. Yes, you have to check out that green scrappy Bargello. Is it ever awesome? I'm looking at it right now. I wish I could show you because, you know, I've cut almost my whole design board is filled. Well, the long way of it, not the wide way of it. And it looks really good. It's really good. And you don't have to put your peaks and your downs at, you know, big numbers or little numbers. You can mix and match. I've done it. I think it looks good. And I've used scrappy. And you can tell some of them have that, you know, 90-degree cut on it. And some half pieces one color and half pieces another color. But it's very similar color greens. That's where I was trying to put them together. But then there's lots of big whole strips too, which really helps complement the eye. So, and a little pop of yellow with a little bit of golden brown. It turned out fantastic. Got more work to do on it. Probably have to add another 30 strips. But it's looking good. And have to figure out a way how I want that quilted up. All right, almost done. We appreciate you watching and liking and subscribing and following us and taking a visit at our Patreon page and, you know, just hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Okay. All right, there we go. And that is those two. Very cute. I wouldn't say necessarily boy, but let's just say gender neutral. Let's put it that way. Okay. Because they could go for either. Just release a little bit of this way and a little bit of this way. Move Walt out of the way. His big head. There we go. It'll be upside down to you guys, but yeah, there we go. Isn't that cute? Stars and swirls and swirlies and I don't know. I thought it looked really cute. So thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your Wednesday and we will see you on Weekend Project. Okay, take care everybody. See you soon. Big hugs.